Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the Furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 14, episode 5, and today we face a really tough test as we travel to Chelsea, who are up in second place in the league at the moment. We're doing pretty well ourselves in 5th, and we've got a couple of games in hand including this one, but they are very tough tests we face, and I think we may struggle to keep up with the chasing pack. You can see since the last episode, things have really changed at the top of the league. Chelsea were top at the end of the last match, and in the last 6 games Arsenal have just surged past. They won the league 2 years ago, as well as the FA Cup final against us. They then had an awful year last year, finished 6th, and we could have finished above them going into the final day of the season, and now they're back at the top again and 9 points clear. It certainly looks like they've made a big recovery. They did lose a few big players 18 months ago, and this summer it seems they've replaced them a bit better. So I know we were a little bit concerned when Arsenal absolutely dominated us a couple of episodes ago, but I think we can allay our fears slightly there, as it looks like they're just by far the best team in the league. But for us, we're up in 5th place, but it doesn't mean a great deal at the moment. You can see all the way down to 9th place Everton. It's a really tight league at the moment, just 4 points separating 3rd place Spurs and 9th place Everton. We've got 2 games in hand as of Liverpool, but if we can nick some points out of them, then we'll say we're in pole position. The City manager's just been sacked. He's going to be replaced imminently, and I'm sure they'll pick up their form then to put themselves clear of the rest of us. So we're going to get into this game against Chelsea, but first we want to have a look at the schedule just to see how we've been getting on since the last episode. You can see we're still one of the top scorers in the league, although we're still conceding a fair few goals, but as long as we're winning games I don't really mind. We've only had 5 since the last episode, purely because a couple got rearranged, so we've now got a bumper January, but since that Liverpool game it was a really spirited display in the last episode. We had a thrilling 6-3 win at home to Sunderland. We were 4-0 up in this one if I remember rightly. Just after half-time, Kozul got the 4th. Sunderland did get one back before we got another one to make it 5-1, and then it went back to 5-2, then to 6-2 and 6-3. So a little bit disappointing defensively at the end, but we did go attacking towards the end of the game, and Lee Rutherford finally got off the mark for the season, so there is a little bit of positive to that match. Then away to Bournemouth, it was a brilliant performance. They were up in 4th place at the time. You can see now in the league they've dropped to 6th or 7th, though they're still very much in that chasing pack with us. Julian got a brilliant brace and Bacanes scored a tap in. A brilliant game all round and a fantastic away performance. Then at home to Aston Villa we won 3-1. Another hat-trick from Julian after we went behind early on. A brilliant performance from the lads, although Richard Quirk picked up a knock in that one, and unfortunately it puts him out for 4 or 5 weeks. Then the biggest disappointment since the last episode, our only defeat, and it was the one we really wanted to win. At home to Tottenham in the Carabao Cup, we went 2-0 down early on. We were getting absolutely outplayed. We really came back into it in the second half and we pushed Tottenham all the way. Gonzalez getting one back off the bench, but it wasn't enough to keep us in the cup. Unfortunately we went out at the quarter-final stage. It will be okay if we get in the top 6 of the league, just to make sure we get into Europe next year. But one of our 3 routes was the Carabao Cup, and that one's now gone, so we've got to focus on the League and FA Cup to make sure we make it this season. Then in the last game at home to Wolves, it was a narrow 2-1 victory. Again we went behind early on, but Hernan Air equalised almost immediately before Omar got a winner in the second half. He continues his good form for this Premier League season. So now we go away to Chelsea after a 9-day gap. The Brighton game was moved in between, and we've got a tough game on TV to finish 2031, and if we lose this one we could fall out of the European places, moving into the new year in a January transfer window. It is going to be a busy January. We mentioned in the last episode the 2 youngsters we'd already pre-agreed transfers for. There's a couple of other big ones I'm trying to bring in now, so I think it could be one of our most exciting Januaries for a while, and we're trying to target good young players with release clauses, just so we don't have to pay over the odds in the inflated winter window. But let's go and get into this game against Chelsea. I'm sure it's not going to end too well, but we want to test ourselves against the best sides in the league, and that means sometimes we see a few defeats on camera. We're away to Chelsea, who are heavy favourites today. We've only won one of our 6 meetings against them, and they're in excellent form, although we're in pretty strong form ourselves, so it isn't all disaster going into this match. We've got a few injuries as we mentioned before. Richard Quirk's yet to return at right back, Lucas Bedger's also out at centre half, and Michael Duncan, the 3rd choice striker's injured. That one's not such a big deal. Chelsea are missing a few themselves, but I'm sure they've got plenty of able deputies that'll be able to come into the team and put in a good performance. But if we go and have a look at our lineup for today. Just Maxwell and McGregor missing out on the squad. We've got Badger in goal, Cisse in at right back for Quirk with Lonergan Irwin at left back. Leclerc joins Recchio in the middle for the injured Bedger. Bacanes in the holding role with Lappin and Omar in midfield, and then Aaron Kozel on the wings with Julian up front. We've got plenty of good midfield options on the bench, as well as Lee Rutherford who can come on up front, but we are a little bit threadbare at the back now, just Lidio and Goretzka outside the first 11. But let's go and get into this match against Chelsea. We have got the likes of Hayes who can drop in at centre-half if need be, and hopefully we'll be able to nick a point today. We'll certainly drop to a balanced mentality. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Chelsea, a very attacking formation, 3 men in behind the striker, although they have dropped their 2 central midfielders back, so maybe that's a little bit of a sign of respect. Or maybe they just want a bit of extra time on the ball. We're going to try and drop players back a little bit here. We're going to go to our balanced mentality, and we're going to drop our fullbacks to supporting duties, just because that's worked when we've played against formations like this, where the wingers are really pushed up against us. We've still got plenty who can go forward and attack, and that should give us plenty of threat on the break. But let's go and get into the final game of the calendar year before we get a chance in the January transfer window to bolster our squad and improve key areas. We're just saying that Lee Rutherford's not ready to start a match. He's only just come back from a knock himself. Fortunately, he came back the game that Duncan got injured, so it does mean that we've still got 2 strikers available. We've had the ball from the kickoff, but we've hoofed it out for a throw, a poor overhit pass to start the match. 3 minutes gone, it's a Chelsea corner, and it's an in-swinger headed away by Bacanes. Falls for Hayward, who's done well against us in the past. Back to Moraes and now Foster. Plenty of good English talent in this Chelsea side, and they're competing at the top of the league, so there's plenty of praise to be coming for them here. Beachy's one of them, and he's got in behind, and with 3 minutes and 8 seconds on the clock, Chelsea have scored and they're 1-0 up, and a 100th goal of his career for Beachy. A really poor start to the game, but we're coming back into it with a throw-in now. Air gets the ball into the box, but it's blocked. Lappin charges through the defence. Hearn and Air gets it on the rebound, and it's blocked. Then it's out for a corner kick. It'll be an in-swinger taken by Omar. He's trying to find a Torquay head, but he's overhit it and he's gone past everyone, and he's headed away as far as Hearn and Air. He gets it to the left to Lonergan Irwin. Into Lappin and back to Irwin again. Beachy back defending this time and commits the foul, and Torquay have got an attacking free kick. The highlight ends and we're still 1-0 down, but we're not doing too badly with 10 minutes gone. We're back with Omar in central midfield, plenty of time to play the ball through. Julian runs onto it and he has a snapshot, tipped over the bar from Gomez, and we've got another corner kick. Just over a quarter of the game gone now, and Omar's trying to deliver into the box. It's headed wide of the post, although we do win the header, and it's out for a Chelsea goal kick. It remains 1-0 and the highlight continues. Gomez with a long kick downfield for Chelsea. Lonergan Irwin heads away, only as far as Gustavo though, and Chelsea can build with Green. Beachy the goal scorer back into midfield again, just holding it up, playing as a good target man, and it seems to be working for them as they create another chance. Bears the right winger shoots from distance, but it goes wide of the post, and it remains just 1 here at Stamford Bridge. 10 minutes to the break, it's a throw on the left for Cisse. Lonergan Irwin plays a 1-2 with Bacanes, and he comes into the box. It's blocked across, but it goes out to Cisse, and now he finds Bacanes again. Lonergan Irwin from the edge, a brilliant rifled effort from him. Gomez makes a fantastic save, and he tips the ball over the bar. It's Omar with an in-swinging corner, Recchio up at the back post, but unfortunately he couldn't get anything on it, and Chelsea managed to hack the ball away. Bears recovers it on the left-hand side, brilliant defensive work from him, but we in turn win the ball back on halfway, and the highlight ends, but we're now with a corner. Omar gets the ball and he's got it at right back. Can he get it away and start a counter-attack? Omar down the right hand side to Julian, but Moraes gets there first. It's cleared long, but Leclerc keeps it in, and hopefully he'll go long again. Julian's got him behind the offside trap. What a finish that is. The right back played him onside, took one touch. We thought he was going to try and go into the box and create a one-on-one opportunity, but he just went for a toe poke from 20 yards. It was perfectly placed in the bottom corner, and it's now 1-1 here at Stamford Bridge, with Julian nicking a brilliant goal. He's been fantastic all year, and I think he's the top scorer in the league at the moment. Omar to Hearn and Air on the right, as we really try to put the sword to Chelsea now. We almost score a second there, but then Chelsea go and do that. From absolutely nothing, they've scored a brilliant free kick, and that's the difference when you have world-class players. We've got a few that could make it in 2 or 3 years, but brilliance like that just comes with big signings. Chelsea have paid for one there, and he scored a fantastic fantastic free kick. Hayward's gone off injured for them, but they lead at the break, and it's pretty undeserved based on the last 15 minutes. We'll sympathise with the lads because they play pretty well, and most of them are motivated or listening keenly, and hopefully they'll respond with good performances when we start the second half in a moment. There's a few players looking anxious now. I'm not sure if that's just because we conceded the goal. Baccanes seems to be struggling for condition as well. I'm not sure if he's picked up a knock. Let's see if our assistant manager finds anything. He's looking exhausted. What sort of injury is it? A bruised ankle. You've got to be stronger there, mate. Unfortunately, they're going to happen in your career. I know he's had a big ankle injury before, but he's not got to be afraid of everyone, as otherwise it's just going to come back to hurt him. Bailey gets the ball on the right to Bears. He puts it into Green. A brilliant finish. Chelsea lead 3-1, and as we're rambling about the Baccanes injury, Chelsea are putting us to the sword immediately. A really good first half performance, but after half time we haven't come out of the traps. We're going to demand more from the boys. A few of them are anxious, and I'm not sure why. They really need to get their head screws on and start putting in a performance. It's Bailey with a free kick from the edge for Chelsea. He's put it wide at a post. We've got a few warnings to go and close people down. We'll go and get those out the way now, and then we're going to go and make some substitutions. Baccanes struggling for fitness, and a few others looking a bit nervy. So firstly, Baccanes will be replaced by Vladimir. Omar's got a rating of 6.2 today. He's had a really poor game. Ramos will come on in central midfield for him. And Kozul's been pretty poor on the left wing, and he's not doing well in terms of condition either. So Gonzalez on for him, and Hernanes switches to the left. Let's get back into the game. Just under half an hour to go, and hopefully we'll be able to keep the score respectable. Just under a quarter to go. It's a long throw from Cisse on the right. They have caused a bit of trouble today as Lappin gets it out to him again. Delivers to the front post. Is knocked away to Lappin. Ramos tries to shoot and it's blocked. And it's been cleared away by Chelsea. It was a little bit desperate at the back for them there. Here's Cisse to Lonergan Irwin. Back out to Cisse again on the right, left-hand side. Tries to deliver and Radenko clears. Though Julian gets it to Lappin. Brilliant effort hits the post. And it's cleared to the right for Hernanes. His cross is blocked and it's out for a throw-in. We're really putting pressure on Chelsea now. We've had more shots in this game and we've arguably been as good as them, but unfortunately they've been clinical and that's going to cost us the game. 5 minutes to go and Chelsea have a throw on the right. It looks like it's going to be too little too late now. And what can you do about that? Benjamin Henrichs rifles one in on a half volley. 25 yards out. It's a postage stamp finish. The goalkeeper's never getting there. And how we've lost this game 4-1 I don't know. It's been a pretty even match. Chelsea have scored 2 screamers. A brilliant free kick and that finish from Hendricks. Otherwise it would have been a 2-1 defeat and a really good performance on the road against a title rival. I say a title rival, that's a little bit ambitious at this stage, but they're right up there in the league at the moment and we've certainly put in a decent display. I hope the lads aren't disheartened by that. There's only been one clear-cut chance for Chelsea, but with them scoring goals from here, there and everywhere, there's not really much we can do on this occasion. They're just keeping the ball in the middle. 10 seconds to go. It's professional from the Tome side and Gustavo gets it back to De Luca, who'll probably go all the way back to the keeper. He doesn't need to as the final whistle goes. It's a 4-1 defeat and I've no idea how, but what a good performance. We really didn't do too badly today. Stuart Jelling wants us to dig into the lads. He says don't hold back, they were really poor out there. I completely disagree with him. I'm going to say unlucky. Most of the lads are confident or motivated and that bodes well going into January where we've got a couple of winnable games at the start of the month. You can see, thankfully, it was one of our games in hand, so we're not going to lose any ground to our rivals, but the other game in hand against Brighton is a must-win one now. That would take us up to 35 points and level with Tottenham and ahead of Man City. It would give us a little bit of distance to the Merseyside clubs as well, who I think are going to improve in the second half of the year. Liverpool have got money to burn all over the place, and that's going to be a bit difficult for us, as they can spend bigger than us in January, but we'll try and spend clever, rather than spending massively. Let's go and have a look at what the media said about the game. Chelsea eased to victory, but it was a lot closer than previous games against the top sides, and it was just the quality of the finishing from Chelsea which made it look like a wider margin than it was. There was a manager watching at Stamford Bridge, the Brazil manager watching some Chelsea players and Omar, and Brendan Rodgers is in charge of France. He was watching Cisse and Leclerc, as well as Roman Tardy from Chelsea. We'll deal with the press conference off camera in a moment, but I want to go and have a look ahead to the January window and see when our next episode might be and what sort of action we can expect to find. I don't want to give you any spoilers to what sort of players we're looking at. We have still got the 2 deals pre-agreed, of course. We've got 52 million in the bank. We might have to shift a bit over to the wages though, so let's say 40 or 45 million. As we said a couple of episodes ago, there's a couple of areas in the team we really want to improve. Left back and centre half are ones we're looking for, but we're not going to make a signing unless it's the right one. If it's a vast improvement or a player with huge potential, then we will go in for them, but otherwise we'll stick with our solid 3-star defence, which continues to let in goals, but as you saw today, some of them were unlucky. The big saga in January is going to be Baccanez. It seemed like he downed tools against the club he might be joining in January. He was unhappy that we didn't let him go there in the summer, and I hope he doesn't go down to that level, as he really can be a crucial player for us, and he's got a big contract if we want to hold on to him. The other area in the team we've got a deficit is out wide. I'm not so worried about the right wing, as Aaron Gonzalez have done really well this year, and Diogo Sousa on loan at Basel is really improving very quickly, and I think by next year he could be a first team pro. If we go and have a little look at him now, he's a wonder kid who's improving rapidly, and I think he's going to be ready for top flight football. But I'm more worried about the left hand side. McGregor's down to 2.5 star now, not even good enough to make the bench most weeks, and although Cottle's been a good performer for us, he is still a 3-star player, and we could upgrade in that position if we wish to, even if it is just a squad player. And of course, like the 2 deals we've already pre-agreed, we will keep an eye out for brilliant youngsters available on the cheap. If we can get them early and develop them into world-class talents, we'll certainly be happy to do that over the next few years. As we mentioned a bit earlier on, we've got a bumper January coming up. We start our FA Cup run with a friendly game at home to Doncaster. On paper it looks like a good game. They're 19th in the Championship and struggling in that league, so even our backup side should be able to beat them. I know we have got a couple of little troubles with injury, but I hope they won't cost us too much on that occasion. We're playing Burnley next on New Year's Day. Obviously Fabian Palacios will be ineligible, but let's just go and have a look at his progress. I've seen that he's been up for Young Player of the Month a couple of times, so he must be doing quite well there, and he looks to be pretty decent, so we're certainly pleased with his progress. And then going back to the players who were out on loan, Darren Palmer's at Hull in League One, and he's been absolutely flying down there. 13 goals in 20 appearances, got Player of the Month 3 times, and he looks like he's going to improve drastically there, and hopefully he'll be in good shape when he comes back next year. The last big one that's out on loan is Ray Probert. He's been playing for Norwich in the Championship, and with 25 starts he's got 6 assists and 2 goals, and he really is improving. Ray Probert's doing brilliantly. Not quite a good enough potential to be a wonder kid, but he can still be a very good Premier League player, and a good squad option for us next year if we do get into the Europa League. So I'm really pleased with how our loan players are doing, and hopefully they'll all come back better players next year. But let's finish on the schedule to see when we'll be back for the next episode. Obviously we mentioned the first 2 games of the month. We've got a really tricky spell after that. The Brighton game that's been rearranged is the home banker out of the 4, but the likes of Everton, City and Spurs are all going to be very difficult games. But then on the final day of the month, we'll do our usual January transfer deadline day special, and this time we've also got a game as well, as we go away to Newcastle at St James's Park. I'm just going to go forward and check the deadline day is on the Saturday, because sometimes when it's at the weekend it gets moved along to the Monday, so bear with me a moment and we'll come back with the outcome. Okay, as it turns out, the deadline day's not till Monday the 2nd of February, so we will still show those 2 anyway. We'll have the Newcastle game away from home, or possibly even the Arsenal one afterwards, depending on which is going to be more important. And either side of that, we'll have a January transfer deadline day special, and this year it could be an action-packed one if we can't get the deals over the line early in the window. There may be a couple of players moving out as well, including 1 or 2 surprises, so I hope you'll come and join me for that one, to see the potential improvements to our squad. But if you did enjoy this episode and that really decent performance against Chelsea, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of the performance. Stuart Jelling seems to think we were awful, and the scoreline would suggest it, but to me it looked like a pretty even game, and it was just that Chelsea were scoring every chance they had. They scored 2 screamers from outside the box, and I'm not sure what the lads were really expected to do in that game. Do you agree with my assessment of where we need to improve in January? Obviously it is going to be a little bit difficult as it is an inflated market, but I've found a couple of players with release clauses who I really want to target. It's just whether they choose us over their other options, otherwise it could be a nail-biting window. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one with Torquay United and our Journeyman series The Head Coach. We started a brand new season with a move to a new country at the start of this week, and with 3 episodes into it now, so do go back and catch up with the season so far if you're not up to date with that one. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career, every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. We're a few episodes into that now, and a massive thank you to everyone that supported it so far. We also did a 10-part Ashes Test playthrough from that game, which I really enjoy creating. We're also continuing our Snooker 19 career every Friday at 4:30, but a massive thanks for watching this one and your continued support with the series as always. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for another big episode as we go through transfer deadline day as well as playing another big Premier League match.